Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, great people. Welcome back to our channel. We're so excited to have you again. Latest as it has to do with the state of emergency declared in Rivers State and the position of Fubara. Right now, information reaching us that has it that the suspended Rivers State governor, similarly Fubara, has vacated the government house in Rivers State, precisely in Port Harcourt. It gathered that the governor reportedly moved out on Wednesday morning ahead of the anticipated arrival of Vice Admiral Ekwe Ibas, retired, who has been appointed as the new sole administrator of the state. A visit to the government house on Wednesday morning revealed a calm atmosphere with at least 3 armored personnel carriers stationed at the main entrance. Security source confirmed that there had been a change of guard at the seat of power, with all of the governor's security details replaced. According to him, he says that the governor left government house this morning and the new administrator is yet to resume. We are expecting him any moment from now. The security details in Rivers State's government house have been reshuffled. I can tell you that everywhere is calm and nothing is happening as we speak now. Meanwhile, residents of Port Harcourt have gone about their normal businesses and there have been no sign of a breakdown of law and order. This development follows President Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State on Tuesday, citing the ongoing vandalization of pipeline and the failure of political stakeholders to resolve the crisis despite previous intervention. Also, in a related development, the former LP presidential candidate and former governor of Anambra State had also spoken up about the state of emergency declared in Rivers State, and this is what the unilateral decision of President Tinubu to remove Governor similarly Fubara of Rivers State from office is not only unconstitutional but also reckless. It has plunged us back into the state of lawlessness, hugely undoing the progress we have made in these 26 years of democratic journey. By disregarding the rule of law, the president has shown a dangerous willingness to trample on democracy. The declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State is not just reckless, it is a clear attempt to return us to a state of nature and tighten its grip on power at all costs. It is a degrading backdoor imposition of martial rule on the strategic part of the federation with all the implied negatives. The political situation on the ground in Rivers does not justify such an extreme measure, and it is also a biased interpretation of Section 305, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The state of emergency does not mean an elected governor can be removed unilaterally. This decision does not align with the democratic norms or good governance. Instead, it appears to be a predetermined action serving specific interests rather than the collective good of the people of Rivers State and Nigeria. The action constitutes an unconstitutional overreach, setting a dangerous precedent that threatens democracy, the rule of law, and the separation of power. If left unchecked, it could foster a culture of impunity. Having already been grappling with the non-adherence to electoral qualification rules and massive rigging, adding arbitrary removal of elected officials will push us to a state of nature and anarchy. I appeal to the National Assembly and all stakeholders not to allow this to stand, as it only deepens the culture of impunity and brigade already threatening our democracy. A new Nigeria is possible. Well, that was the standpoint of Peter Obi in respect to it. But then a lot of other Nigerians have been responding to it, and some have been able to bring out the Supreme Court ruling on the matter. And they say Tinubu is determined to rule Nigeria forever. We must all join hands to fight this and get to hear exactly the standpoint of the Supreme Court in respect to. Now, in the case of Attorney General of Plateau State versus Attorney General of the Federation 2006, the Supreme Court of Nigeria ruled on the matter. The court held that while the president has the constitutional authority under Section 305 to declare a state of emergency, this power does not extend to the removal or suspension of a democratically elected governor. The court emphasized that the Constitution protects the tenure of elected officials and that any attempt to truncate these terms must align strictly with constitutional provisions such as impeachment processes outlined in Section 188 for the governors. The suspension of Governor Dariye was deem an overreach of presidential authority and thus illegal as it lacks a constitutional basis. The Supreme Court further clarifies that a state of emergency allowed the president to take extraordinary measures to restore order, such as deploying security forces or enacting emergency regulation, but it does not authorize the dissolution of democratic institution or the removal of elected officials unless explicitly provided for in the Constitution. The National Assembly's rule in approving and overseeing the emergency declaration was also underscored as a critical check on executive power. Now, all of these, if you listen carefully, is traceable to the issue of check on the executive power. Let's also consider the position of the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, in respect to this. Don't forget that this statement by Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a kind of awakened the consciousness of Nigerians. Most people feel that this is absolutely wrong, and it has been traceable to the law that it's an overreach on the part of the president. But then the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, has warned that any attempt to disrupt public order due to the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State will be met with resolute force. He stated that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration is vital for restoring political stability in the state. Commending Tinubu's move, Matawalle has stated that the emergency rule is vital for addressing the ongoing political crisis. I wonder when the president has the right to get involved in political crisis when the court is there. But however, let's continue. Reflecting on the president's address regarding the state of emergency, the minister acknowledged the gravity of the political crisis in Rivers State and the urgent need for intervention. He highlighted the unfortunate demolition of the House of Assembly by the state governor, which has led the state without a functioning legislature for over 14 months. In his words, he says this action has contributed to the ongoing political impasse and inability of the government to effectively serve the people. The ministers also noted the Supreme Court recent ruling, which reaffirmed the constitutional necessity of a functioning legislature and condemned the governor's actions as unconstitutional. Matawalle further expressed concern over recent report of vandalism and threats from militants, underscoring the need for a unified effort to restore peace and security. He reiterated that the federal government is committed to ensuring the safety of all citizens and the protection of vital infrastructures in Rivers State. In his word, he says, in light of the current situation, the Nigerian military is on the high alert to safeguard government infrastructure and ensure the security of the citizen. Any attempt to attack government facilities or disrupt public order will be met with a resolute response from the security forces. He therefore urged all security stakeholders to embrace this opportunity for renewed governance and cooperation, for express hope that the state of emergency will pave the way for a peaceful and democratic Rivers State benefiting all its residents. I'm so shocked. Some of the statements made by some of our appointees clearly show that they don't even know what they are saying, because this particular move kind of stifle democracy and leaves us in a state of watching its president detect for a state which is outrightly not provided for in the Constitution. Nigerians have been talking about these issues, and it seems as though the position of the president will never be changed in respect to this. The next 6 months, no one can actually tell what will happen in Rivers State. But however, the military has taken over, and we are waiting to see